It's no secret that I'm a big fan of the occult, witchy things, Halloween things, and all things spooky, and it plays a big part in the artwork that I create. And something that I don't talk about too often are the people that influence my artwork. And one of those artists is the late, great Edward Gorey. His last name honestly says it all. And even if you don't recognize his name, you might recognize his work. Edward is famous for a lot of things, but some of his most famous artworks are some of my favorite things, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Ghastly Crumb Tinies, and of course, all of us PBS kids remember the PBS Mystery Show. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about Edward, and of course, we're going to go ahead and pay a visit to his house. And I recently turned 28, and for my birthday, I wanted nothing more than to visit one of my favorite artists' homes, which is now somewhat of a museum. I'm going to go ahead and take you guys along with me, and we're going to go ahead and visit Edward's house in Cape Cod, which is one of the most amazing trips that I have ever gone on. So first things first, I want to tell you a little bit about Edward Gorey himself and the background that created this amazing person. He was born in the 1920s, 1925 to be exact, in the amazing city of Chicago, and he was somewhat of a child prodigy. Like, he learned how to draw really young and also taught himself how to read. So he was honestly born to become the legend that he is. So of course, Edward is a multidisciplinary artist that did not just illustrations, but different artwork, many books. So he was also an author and writer. And also, of course, being a costume designer and creating many sets for the plays that played in New York City. Now, I won't get into every detail about his life, but honestly, Edward's work is amazing. He went to go and illustrate 200 books. That is amazing. That's like every artist's goal, to do that much work in your lifetime. I think is unbelievable. Now, earlier I mentioned 3 works of art that I was obsessed with that really taught me about Edward and his work. One of those being PBS Mystery. This was created in 1980 and honestly very iconic for a lot of us PBS kids. And then of course we have the famous Bram Stoker's Dracula. Not only did Edward Gorey illustrate the book, but he was also able to participate in helping to set up the set designs. I just recently went to the ballet and saw a performance of Dracula, and it reminded me so much of Edward's work. And even in 2022, you can just see how Edward's work participates in today's art. And then last but not least, one of his famous artworks is one of the creepiest things that America and the world has ever seen. The Ghastly Crumb Tinies. This is literally an alphabet book and series of children throughout the alphabets and talking about how they passed away. Now, I vaguely remember seeing this as a kid and thinking it's for kids. It's honestly very creepy, and I don't think at the age I really knew that. But as you grow up, you kind of see how grim his artwork was, but also playful. And as you go to his house, you can see a lot of the homage for the Ghastly Crumb Tinies, which I think is a very big legacy in his artwork. And as you can see, Edward's work was very like whimsical, creepy, and just something that nobody else was really doing. The reason why I truly love his work was because of the way he etched and sketched and the way that he made characters look funky but also spooky. Now, before you head on over to the house and think that it's a public museum, though it is public, you do have to reserve and get your tickets ahead of time. Edward Gorey's house is exactly that, a house. But because it is a house, they only allow a certain amount of people at a time. And again, this is in Cape Cod in the Cape of Massachusetts, and it is in a lovely area in the small town of Yarmouth Port, and it is just so lovely, so quaint, and very New England style. This home was purchased in 1986, and he lived in it until his death in 2000. So basically all of his artwork and things were in this house by the time he passed away in 2000. The museum and home are ran by some amazing people, and they curate some of the best exhibits and shows for Edward's work and tell an amazing story about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the tour. Alright friends, Edward's home is filled with so many amazing pieces of his life as well as his artwork, including many pictures of himself and his life as well as all of his work like I mentioned. Once you pull up to his house, there's a parking lot on the side, and right there's actually a magnolia tree, which is one of my favorite trees. This is one of the very few magnolia trees in the north, and it's also humongous. The house on the outside is just as gorgeous as the house on the inside. It is very much Cape Cod, New England style home. As soon as you enter, you'll find these lovely little scavenger hunt pamphlets, which you can actually use around the house to find the Ghastly Crumb Tinies. It's such a fun scavenger hunt. The staff have put together some lovely exhibits. The one that I actually saw will no longer be there by the time you go visit, but no matter what time of year you go, you will be welcomed with open arms, as well as a lovely little background behind Edward and his work and the exhibit that's going on. You get to see a lot of Edward, who he was, his items, his collections, his toys, all those things. Seeing the Dracula stuff in person was honestly just an amazing experience, and I love Edward so much for this piece of work, and it was really cool to see everything and all the detail that went into it. One of my favorite parts of the house is the kitchen. It is so gorgeous. I want a kitchen just like this. It felt so homey and just like very New England style. I don't know how to explain it other than New England style. It's just amazing, beautiful. They also showcase a lot of works of art from different people that enter this contest that they have annually. The house is honestly just so quirky. There's so many items of his, and as well as like photos to let you know what it looked like when he was actually living there. You can also purchase some of his etchings. I'm dying to get me some. They're a couple $100, so not too pricey, but a very nice collector's piece. Although that you're in someone's home and it's just a very personal space, and I feel like it can feel very invasive, I think the staff and just the overall team have done a really good job at respecting Edward in his life and really showcasing his work and allowing us to come into the home without disrespecting the man that created all this amazing works of art. I had such a lovely experience. I highly recommend you check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to comment down below or send me a message through social media and I'll be happy to answer them for you. That is it from me on Edward. If you enjoyed this artist talk, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Be sure to follow me on my website and my social medias, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care y los quiero mucho.